think most Cardinals fans are excited about this draft. It seems like a lot of people nationally are excited about the Cardinals draft, even if they are not Cardinals fans. Wolf, I know you and I are pretty fired up about it. And I know one player in particular that you were hoping they would draft before they even drafted him was Tip Reiman. And Tip Reiman joins us right now on the Arizona Sports Line. Tip, thank you for the time. How's it going?
Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all having me. It's going really well.
Yeah, good, Tip. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. I want to start with this right here because I played 10 years in the NFL. I remember what it was like to be drafted on draft day. What did you do, Tip, for draft day, and who were you with?
I kept it really small. Wanted to just have, like, immediate family, and then I had my tight ends coach there and a couple of the Illinois media crew, but had all the immediate family up in South Dakota back home, and just wanted to soak it all in with the people who helped make it happen.
Tip, the Cardinals had 4 third-round picks, and you ended up getting taken 11 picks after Isaiah Adams, who was your teammate in college.
Yeah.
So what was that like to see? I mean, that's what in real time, that's like a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, you're getting picked right after your college teammate. Yeah,
it was really cool. You know, him and I have a great relationship, and to be able to continue that was a really cool thing. And I feel like it was just ordained from the Lord. You know, this was the plan that He's got for our lives, and so to be able to go and smash people together in a new place is a lot of fun.
That's awesome right there. Tip, I've got to ask you now. I'm a big fan, so I'm kind of geeking out just a little bit right here, but a big fan of your game right now. Were you surprised that you were drafted by the Arizona Cardinals?
I don't know if surprise is what I would use, but there were other teams that had made it known that there was more interest, but I think just the Cardinals played their cards pretty close to their chest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't necessarily a surprise, but it wasn't like, oh, this is an obvious one, you know? So, but all my interactions with everyone at the Cardinals organization prior to the draft actually happening was nothing but positive. So, I didn't see it as not an option.
Yeah, Tip, were you interviewed by the Arizona Cardinals? And if so, how did that go?
Yes, sir. At the East-West, I was interviewed by Monty, and it went really well. And then the passing game coordinator, Drew, he was our offensive coordinator at the East-West game. And so, you know, get a week-long interview with him, right? And so that was great. And then the tight ends coach, Ben Steele, he and I got on a Zoom after the combine, and that went really well. So I really enjoyed all my interactions, but, you know, it's just one of those things that you're never sure. So it was exciting when the call came, I can tell you that.
Talking to Tip Reiman. Tip, I think we have a little bit of a sense of this, but I'd want to hear it from you, obviously, because you'll know better than anybody. How would you describe how you play the tight end position or whatever position you need to play on a football field?
The first adjective that comes to mind is aggressive, just aggressive, violent, physical. Those are things that I pride myself on, and I feel like the intent that I have, if I bring that to every situation, run blocking, pass game, anything, that it can up my game big time. So that's always what's on my mind.
You know, when did you fall in love with the blood sport? Because I can tell you right now, I mean, for me, Tip, I remember the circumstance. I remember what it was like to truly understand you can step inside these white lines and go out and act like an unmitigated savage, and it's okay to do it. And then you can step outside of those white lines, love people and respect people and treat them better than yourself. It doesn't get any better than that, does it?
It's the best job in the world, isn't it?
It really is. And when did you know that you were in love with the blood sport?
I think it was out of the womb. As the first time I was able to play any sort of sport, it became a contact sport, you know, and getting kicked out of flag football league and just different things like that when I was just a itty bitty guy, you know, it's always been in me. I'm not sure what it is. That's why I say I attribute it to what the Lord gave me, because it's just always been like that. And I've always loved to, for lack of better words, hurt people, and in the right way, between the white lines, right?
Correct.
And so, but then like love people so well and be gentle, outside the white lines. It's a really cool
Amen.
flip of the coin. I love that, and I attribute it to kind of how you see in the Psalms with David. He's the same man who slayed Goliath, the same man who was one of the most feared warriors of all time.
Warrior.
But then again, he wrote poems and songs to the Lord, and so it's pretty cool.
Talking to Tip Reiman. Tip, I know you don't know my co-host. You don't know just how much you sound like him, honestly. You're like a younger Wolf. This is scary for me. This is great.
This is great, man.
Okay, so what's next for you now? You get drafted. You know at least one guy on the team. You're an Arizona Cardinal. What's the process look like now?
Our report date is May 9th now, and until then, I've just been training and everything, continuing to work and make sure I'm in great condition, make sure there's nothing missing, no piece, no stone left unturned before we get there. And my wife and I will actually head out, and we'll drive out early, try to get a lay of the land, get her settled, make sure she's all good. So then when I go to work on the 9th, it's all good and she's good to go. So that's just kind of what it's all about now. We're going to actually start driving out tomorrow. It's about a 24-hour drive, so we're going to take our time.
That's awesome, man. That is well played. Okay, Tip, what is your weight at right now?
In between 270 and 275.
Okay. All right. Where do you like playing? What do you think is your optimal weight? Because I love you at 270 right now. You tell me you're 270, the only thing better than 270 is 275.
I know. That's kind of how I feel. I mean, if I can move the same and I'm heavier, all right, let's do it. I got up to like 279 in this process after the combine while I was just training my butt off and just trying to stay in shape and run as much as I could. And I kept gaining weight, and I was like, holy cow, okay, but it's good weight. So not sure what I'll play at this year. Probably around 270, 275. But in the past I've been around 272.
Yeah, you know what? I love that, man. I really. What's your favorite route to run, Tip?
Choice routes are fun. I got to run some of those at the East-West game. Those are fun. Kind of get to play with the defender a little bit, but
and you've got a little burst.
Like
yeah, I mean you're running a 4.6. This is you. You've got a little. Do you think a lot of people have a tendency to overlook your athletic ability or your talent in terms of being a receiver?
Yeah, I think that's something I'll just continually have to prove, and that's fine. I like proving stuff and competing. But it is something that is probably not first nature for someone to think of when they look at me. But that's fine. I like breaking molds, and I like being a unicorn. So if I can do that, it's awesome. And I'm excited for the next steps and to continue to, prove the Cardinals right and prove a lot of other people wrong.
We're talking to Tip Reiman. Tip, you're on a team now with Trey McBride. You've got Kyler Murray throwing you the ball. How do you think you and Trey might be able to play off each other?
Well, I mean, we both have overlapping skill sets and different skill sets, and I think we can really complement each other in the ways that we do some things really similarly and some things somewhat differently. And so I think it's going to be a really dynamic duo when you get out there in 12 and you give defenses something to worry about, especially with all the threats on the field. Like you can't really overload one little piece of the puzzle in this offense. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see how it shakes out.
Tip, I just got to ask you, because rarely do you ever get a guy that comes on and says, you know what, I like to prove it. I like to prove things. I like to, why do you feel that way? Were you always like this?
Yeah, I've always been like this. I feel that way because it's kind of just, it's been something in my whole life that everything's proven, everything's earned, nothing is stumbled upon, and that's kind of the name of the game right now. And especially when you get to this level too. Like, not 1 inch is earned, not 1 inch is given. It's all earned, And so that's right up my alley, because that's how I grew up,
Yeah.
In a just a gritty childhood. My family instilled a lot of hard work and grittiness in me as well, and in how they lived, and I got to grow up seeing that. And so the ability to have that continue through my life now is really beneficial. And I think it's played into my mentality of, like, I'm just going to earn everything. I'm going to earn every inch, and please don't give me anything, and let me work for it.
That's awesome. Tip, okay, last question for me right here. Did you get a nickname when you were in college? And if so, what is it?
No, everyone just called me Tip.
Okay, just Tip. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Tip, we appreciate the time. I can tell you, and I know you don't know Wolf yet, but this has to be the happiest I've ever seen him during an interview. He was hoping they would draft you. You've said a bunch of things during this interview he always says. So just congratulations on the new gig and continued success going forward, all right?
Oh, thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And hopefully we get to meet in person sometime soon.
That's right.
Absolutely.
God bless you, young man.
Thank you. You guys too. I appreciate y'all.
That's Tip Reiman joining us right there on the Arizona Sports Line.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.